Hello friend and welcome to Borgcast Animated Series 1.4 with Anne-Marie and Peter and Snorri Lila.
Oh yes, we like Snorri Lila. We have a bit of previously on from the Infinite Vulcan. Basically, Thomas McCambley tried to explain you still need to use force to move in space even though there's no gravity, which is weird for me, but apparently it's a thing, so okay, just have to live with that. But tonight we are covering Yesteryear, written by
DC Fontana.
Yes, her only script for the animated series, although she was kept quite busy as associate producer. We dodged a bullet, as one of the ideas they had for the animated series was just to explore the childhood adventures of the crew to appeal to the kids.
Oh, God.
So yeah, every episode would have been like this tale from Kirk's childhood, etc.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
Starfleet babies.
Oh.
Dee, 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 dee.
Yeah, no.
I think as a one-off it works fine, but I just would not want this every week. I mean, that
No.
would be unbearable.
Yes.
Almost as bad as that the crew as Academy idea that went round the houses again and again.
Or there's that awful Next Gen episode where they get turned into children and bounce on beds and shit.
Yeah, again, because it's a one-off, it kind of works. That's Rascals, I think, if I remember
Yeah.
rightly. But yeah.
No, not me.
Captain's log supplemental. When we were in the time vortex, something appears to have changed the present as we know it. No one aboard recognizes Mr. Spock. The only answer is that the past was somehow altered.
So you start, as is the norm, with a captain's log. And they're at the planet of the time vortex.
Yeah, that's an odd one, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's not what they called the planet where the Guardian of the Edge Forever was before, but that's apparently what it's called now.
And there's some researchers there, and one of them is a griffin.
Ah, yes, he's an Aurelian. Alik Om. Guess which actor does his voice?
Doohan.
Yep. Aurelian's also featured in a couple of Lower Decks episodes and Star Trek Prodigy.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say it's a very animated series design.
Yes.
And when they appear in Lower Decks, they look even hokier because they're trying to sort of recapture the original series design. Yeah, no, it doesn't really work. But apparently Fontana used the Guardian at the Edge of Forever to avoid extra explanations for how the crew would time travel.
Okay.
So, we've already got something through which you can travel for time. Let's just reuse it
Yeah.
rather than coming up with another excuse. So
Fair
I like
enough.
that. And
Yeah.
of course, it's continuity, so that's great.
Yeah. So they've been observing Orion.
There's also Grey. A lot of these characters I don't think get named on screen.
Okay.
She's the one with the interesting stripe in her hair.
Yeah, stripy hair.
Yes, I like her outfit. It's quite cool. Guess who's doing the voice for her?
No.
Madrigal Barrett.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It has to be said that really neither Alik or Grey particularly feature in this story much at all. I don't quite know why they included them. They seem rather redundant. Although, I mean, Alik is fun to look at.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if this was another Roddenberry. We need a Birdman! Fontana's like, oh, I haven't got room for a Birdman in this story. Let's just stick him at the start.
Yeah. They come through the gateway, having been observing Orion, and the other people there don't know who Spock is. Now, Kirk does. They beam up, and they don't know who Spock is. And Kirk's like, how can you not know the first officer? And then an Andorian first officer, Thalen, appears. And it's like, I thought you'd know him by now. That they crusade to Kirk. He's been your first officer for 5 years. And Spock says, this is not a game. And it's like, well, if this is reality, what happened?
So I guess who's doing the voice for Thalen?
That would presumably be Doohan.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
And he also did the voice for the Guardian as well. They didn't get Bartel LaRue back, sadly. So he's getting there's 3 extra characters he's doing. He's getting his bonus.
Yeah. So Thalen has asked for some research. There is no Spock in Starfleet. In terms of Sarek and Amanda, and I have to say, I think they do a good job of realising Sarek. It looked recognisable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very Mark Leonard. They did a great
Yeah.
job on that. So we got Historian Erickson who's been doing this research. Yeah. And again, he's just like, he might be in the first scene, I'm not sure, but otherwise it's just this scene and nothing else.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. And apparently Sarek and Amanda separated soon after the death of their son Spock at the age of 7.
Oh, yes, the guy... is it the guy reporting this is the guy on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ensign Bates. Yeah, it was going to be Chekhov in the script.
Okay.
Which would have made some sense, but no, instead, Doohan. Again!
Yeah. And then Spock talks about like a sort of desert ritual where he was saved by his cousin Selleck.
Coswan!
And he now thinks that was him. But he couldn't go down to save himself because he was watching Orion. And then Kirk says you couldn't be in two places at once. And I'm thinking, but he clearly was in two places at once.
Yeah, this bit doesn't work for me, I'm afraid. It doesn't make any sense, but okay. Because he was travelling through time, the timeline got altered, but because he wasn't present, I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't work. But anyway, so he wants to go back and try and fix it. The Andorian says he's not aggrieved, and someone comments that the Andorians aren't known for their sort of sympathy, and he's like, well, they value family, and if Spock can go back, his mother will live. And so they see the value in that, which is nice. Yeah, he seems
a really nice guy. I mean, again, not in it very much. He's literally instead of Spock in this reality, but it's nicely written, and you kind of wish you got a bit more of him, really.
So Spock goes back to Vulcan 30 years ago, approximately, and we see a city, and I like the city.
Oh, yeah. Before he goes back, he gets his outfits, his disguise beamed to him.
Yes.
In a handbag.
Yeah.
By the wardrobe section, who are presumably the people that provided him with all the beanies in the original series. I mean, they must sit there doing bugger all most of the time and just, oh, hang on, we'll be called upon to beam down a handbag and an outfit for Spock for this. Shall we give him a beanie hat? No, it's Vulcan. We don't have to worry about his ears. Okay.
Well, except that on a ship, there's not exclusive duties, but there are people who do laundry and repairs of clothing, and if they can't replicate as freely in the original series era as they can in the next gen era, it would make sense that they would have somebody washing and repairing people washing and repairing clothes.
Would they be called the wardrobe? I would have thought they'd be called the uniform section rather than the wardrobe section. Wardrobe just kind of suggests that they've got like a magical Mr. Ben style room full of costumes for particular adventures.
I mean, maybe they do as well.
As if by magic, the wardrobe section appeared.
I don't know what it's called on ship. Also, I mean, even if I knew, I'd only know what they're called in the British Navy, not what they're called in the US Navy. And as I said, I don't think their duties are exclusive.
If
I think they
anything
double up.
Like air cadets, you have to look after your own uniform, so you have to learn to sew.
Okay, no, because on the programmes I've watched about destroyers and that at sea, they have people responsible for doing all the
laundry, certainly,
the laundry, and for certain repairs. I mean, I think you're still expected to sew your own badges on, but there's certain repairs that they will do, and alterations and stuff. And
you would expect them to have, like you say, doubled up, maybe another role, because that isn't going to spend...
No,
they're not going to spend all day doing laundry on a ship in the middle of nowhere, are they? Really?
No, though I can't remember...
sound like what you joined the Navy for, does it?
No, I can't remember what their other duties were.
In the Navy, you can crease somebody else's trousers in the Navy. Maybe not.
I can't remember what their other duties were, but there were people who that was part of their role.
Yeah.
Although I think it might have even been a shift system whereby you were on that role for X amount of weeks.
And then you got changed to something rather more exciting, like actually shooting guns and things.
No, it was other sort of... I don't know. Anyway, that's what I thought of when they talked about the wardrobe department. Yeah. The people who I just assumed, rightly or wrongly, that in this era of Star Trek they can't replicate as freely.
This feels like a thing we might need to ask Andy, and he might know.
Yeah. Anyway, on Vulcan, we come across young Spock being bullied.
They do look like they walked out of He-Man, don't they?
They do. Yes. Very much so.
Hairy pants and a bit of leather gear. Wow. Yeah. Is that what Vulcan kids wear? That doesn't seem particularly logical.
No.
But never mind.
And they even have like the cross things.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that he's got a pet massive bear thing.
Oh, that's his Sellat.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
We don't find out who makes the adorable noises for that. I mean, I'd be amazed if it wasn't Doohan, but he isn't credited on that one. But anyway, one of the kids who's bullying Spock is voiced by Keith Sutherland, son of director Hal Sutherland. He did 16 episodes of animation. Lassie's Rescue Rangers.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, I didn't know that was a thing. 5 episodes of The Brady Kids, which was another animation tying into the Brady Bunch. The Brady Kids form a pop group and go on an adventure with their newfound friends, 2 pandas, a shaggy dog, and a magical bird.
Wow.
I do kind of want to see that now. And he ended up as an assistant editor, including on season 1 of He-Man. I mean, possibly because his dad was rather involved in the company. Anyway.
Yeah. So Spock arrives, says his name is Selick, and says that he names 2 people and says he's a cousin of Sarek.
Yeah, is it T'Pol or somebody like that? But
don't
it's a recognisable name from previous
somewhere.
stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
It says he's a cousin. You get a raised eyebrow.
Yeah, and it is actually Mark Leonard as well,
Yeah.
which is just a relief because we really don't need another voice
No,
by
we don't.
Doohan, do we?
No.
I mean, spoilers, we're going to get one, but we don't need it. And it's just so nice. He's such a dignified presence, even in
Yeah.
animation. It's
Yeah.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
But you notice Spock says that he was going there to pay
Homage to his family gods or
gods.
something.
Gods? Do Vulcans believe in gods? I don't think it's ever mentioned again if they do. Doesn't seem particularly logical, does it?
No, but then Catchers aren't logical, are they?
They do, very true, they are not. So, perhaps it's all connected with the same spirituality.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then Amanda shows up, not voiced by Jane Wyatt, unfortunately, but another Majel Barrett voice. There's some touching dialogue where Spock shows sympathy for his father having to deal with a half-human son. Meanwhile, we cut to Sarek placing very mean pressure on his son, basically, to pass his test. It's like, oh, really? But it is kind of in character for him, so it's, yeah. We get to see the Salat, Ichaya, referenced in Journey to Babel. As promised, they are indeed a giant cross between a bear and a saber-toothed tiger. And, let's face it, completely unrealisable in live action at the time. But reasonable in animation. I mean, there's an element of Scooby-Doo to him, isn't there? But, it kind of works. Apparently there's a CG Salat in Enterprise, which you must have seen, because we did watch all of Enterprise, but I don't remember what it looked like. No. Thankfully, I suspect. In a beautiful area with flowing fountains, and all the Vulcan stuff is
lovely, isn't it?
Just so wonderfully realised. And it's like, yeah, this is what you can do on an animated series. We had a bit, the original series, Amok Time, you saw a bit of Vulcan, but
not a lot.
Yeah, it was clearly a studio, whereas this is expansive panoramic views, and it looks properly alien. It's brilliant. So Spock reflects on what the Kazwan is, a trial of strength, drawing from logic. Ichaya makes cute, concerned noises as young Spock leaves, and his pet runs after him. And adult Spock realises it wasn't the actual Cos-1 ordeal that was when the timelines changed, but this basically young Spock is doing like a trial run to check he can do it, sort of thing.
I like the idea.
Logical.
Sarek without the pressure.
Yes, exactly. Sarek and Amanda worry about whether Selick is
it's
a threat.
It's a mock time.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very good. A mock time. Yes. Wow. Anyway. Sarek and Amanda worry about whether Selick is a threat to Spock and notify the authorities. But sadly, we don't get to see police Vulcans, which would have been kind of cool with big Ninars. Because we see lots of overground cars, which are brilliant. It's like, this is proper sci-fi. Ichaya protects Spock from a Limator or something, which looks very like He-Man's Cringer.
Does.
Particularly the colouring. It's like a skinny Cringer. The noise it makes apparently is Godzilla's cry from the movies.
Oh.
Yes. Old Spock leaps on the Limatia to save Ichaya and gives it a neck pinch. Young Spock is confused by his parents sending mixed messages. Old Spock explains about the Vulcan approach to emotion, just as Ichaya keels over from poison from the Cringer. Young Spock runs off to get medical help, getting attacked by vicious plants on the way. He finds a Vulcan healer. And guess who voices the Vulcan healer? Oh, boy. Doohan is on triple pay at this point.
Well, it's more than that, because it does that. There was that bloke, I don't even know who he was at one point on the Enterprise, and I went, "What accent even is that?" And you went, "Jimmy Doohan trying to pretend not to be Jimmy Doohan."
Yeah.
So he's doing so many voices.
Yeah. They return in an air car. Old Spock kind of delivers the
Isn't it pink or got pink on it? The air car.
Possibly. They do like pink in this series. Old Spock kind of delivers the He-Man message for this week about accepting death as part of life. I mean, I'd be amazed if the kids show did this today. This is really great stuff. It's basically enabling kids to deal with the death of pets. It's like, wow, what an amazing idea. The healer asks young Spock whether he wants Ichaya put down, which he does. Apparently NBC execs wanted the ending changed so the kiddies wouldn't be upset, but they were really missing the point, weren't they? And to give him some credit for a change, Roddenberry stood by Fontana, and since he had complete creative control, his word was final. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they didn't get a single letter of complaint.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Also, I mean, you think about the old Disney films. There's a lot of death in them, and nowadays it's like parents get warn, or your kids might be upset. You think of Bambi.
Exactly. Again, they wouldn't make Bambi that way again, I don't suppose, but maybe they will if it's live action, of course, because that's what they do with all their movies.
Or that you might hear it, I suppose. I don't know, but the thing is, as well, we don't help children by shielding them from everything. Some things that make sense to shield them from. We don't help them from shielding them from everything, and actually they cope better by learning through things through stories first.
Yep. So, next time somebody asks me whether a kid, they should bring their kid along to a funeral, or say, yes, but make sure you show them this episode of the animated series first, because it's educational.
Or, yes, bring them along, but be prepared to take them out if they ask to go out. Because that's the other thing, is they could want to go and then find it too much, and it should be okay for them to say that.
Turns out old Spock has taught his young self the neck pinch, which is something of a paradox, but there we go. And the youngster is off to incapacitate his bullies. Selleck Spock bids his farewells, asking in payment for saving his younger self that Sarek might try and understand his son, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
Our Spock returns to the future. Archaea dying is somehow the cause of the divergence in the timeline, and now all is restored. Spock threatens to change by telling jokes, unnerving bones, which is a nice ending.
Yeah.
Rock on, Tommy, you'll do for me.
So, canon or balls? You can guess what I'm going to say, can't you?
Well, I think this is canon.
Oh,
because
completely canon.
It's drawing on something that's featured in previous episodes.
Several things from the original series, yeah. Includes Sarek and Amanda.
Yeah, you've got the gateway.
Yeah, the pet was mentioned.
Yeah. And also, it's like, why would this detract in any way, if you see what I mean? It's the story of his childhood, and also the fact that he was bullied for his humanness. I think this is probably the first time we find out about it in Trek chronologies, not as in we've watched it personally. I know it came up in Discovery.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it would make some more sense of why he is the way he is. It would round out and expand on his character, wouldn't it? That's why he sort of rejects the human side.
I think the only thing about this that doesn't fit the original series is the fact that actually it's got a really heart-rending emotional payoff to it, to be honest, which so few original series episodes have.
Yeah.
So it's definitely canon.
Yep.
And that's supported by many who worked on later Trek iterations, even when they wanted to forget the rest of the animated series ever existed. Many cite the involvement of DC Fontana, fleshing out Vulcan and Spock's childhood as important background for the universe.
Yeah.
And certainly Enterprise digs into this episode quite a bit, so it's not just Lower Decks that's making references to this, but other Trek series as well. This is canon. Deal with it, folks.
And Discovery does as well. Makes reference to Spock being bullied and stuff, so...
Let's find out what other people thought. Jeffrey Mark Hyman says this. Previous episodes have been a mix of fun and interesting, but this one was just genuinely great. Great performance from Nimoy, yeah, that's true, in this touching adventure. The only thing that took me out of it was hearing Godzilla's roar coming out of a mutant version of He-Man's Battle Cat.
Yeah.
I must admit, I wasn't familiar with the Godzilla roar. That was just something I'd read on Memory Alpha, so it was like, I took their word for it, but obviously it's true.
Yeah.
We've heard from the God of Llamas.
Llama got the fix it quick. Quick, Jake. My world was shattered. I was torn apart like someone took a knife and drove it deep in my heart. Now, by this point in the animated series, and we're only, 4 episodes in now, it's really starting to feel like what the original series was doing was simply all the setup that was necessary so that the animated series could really define what Star Trek actually is. And as I say, we're only 4 episodes in, but we've been doing a lot of some of the really hard lore stuff here. We've had mentioned the eugenics wars previously, and in this episode we get deep Vulcan stuff. It is really going for the hard lore and going for it fast. And I guess they can do a lot of this because they can actually show us a lot of this stuff. Instead of just telling us about it or having it read out by the computer or something, we can actually see a lot of what's doing because they don't have to worry about the cost of it. Well, they don't have to worry about the cost quite as much. And each episode can be about more than just the prick of the week, which is where we seem to get to with season 3 eventually by the end. And yeah, they're really running with it. What I might have expected from an animated series aimed at children is that they've just gone light on everything. They weren't really bothered with lore or anything like this. But they're really doing some proper science fiction stories, really deepening out some things that have only been hinted at in the TV series. So yeah, it's really, really great to see. And also in this episode, we're back to the shorter runtime, meaning that we're getting to the point a lot quicker. I mean, you can see this story being done in the original series, done in the live action, but it would have taken a lot longer to actually get to the point. You know, the standard pre-credits would have been everybody looking at the part, observing through the Guardian, with maybe the end of the teaser being the mystery of why no one recognises Spock. And then you'd have had the entire first act being, why doesn't anyone recognise Spock? And then maybe the second act would have been all about, why isn't certain things remembered of Spock finally realising that he was his own cousin. That would have been so much more drawn out in the original series. So the fact that they get to it within like the first couple of minutes here, Spock realising that he was in fact his own cousin, he travelled back in time from the future. It's just great. We're just getting straight to the point so we can see what really matters. There's no danger of the audience being so many steps ahead of the main characters that they seem idiotic in comparison. So yeah, that's really great. I'm really loving seeing that. And this is really effective, seeing young Spock and the challenges he's facing, and the challenges of racism, being accused of just being a human by his fellow kids. That's some really good stuff, some good messages, some good lessons to be taught to children and to adults in these days as well, it would seem. When did Star Trek get to be this woke? Yeah, well, anyway. And what's really interesting is we also see a lot of young Spock getting into trouble in both Discovery and in the 2009 Star Trek film. There's some great moments in both of those series, films, whatever, in both of those pieces of media. But it was all seen first here in the animated series, and that's just great. The fact that this is where it all came from, it's really unexpected, but it's lovely that something that started here has had such a repercussion further down the line. And yeah, the whole thing with Spock trying to prove himself and actually doing his own version of trials earlier to get the approval of his father. There's just some great stuff here about the family, seeing the family dynamic between him and Sarek and Amanda. It's just really good. And it's also nice to see that Spock is able to give his younger self some advice on how to deal with the difficult life he's going to have. It's a shame he can't just slap Sarek up the head a bit, but yeah, there we go. I guess he's limited by time and stuff. So yeah, I know really this is just a really nice episode, giving us a lot more detail and information about the young life of Spock, which was, a troublesome time for him. So yeah, it's nice to see it explored here. Of course, the weirdest thing about the episode is we learn that Starfleet is still fucking around with time travel, just going to the past, investigating things. Like, didn't they learn their lesson from Assignment Earth? In fact, didn't they learn the lesson from the last time one of these portals was used? Oh, be careful. Yeah, that never fucking works out. So yeah, well done, Starfleet. Just stop, will you? Just stop. I guess this is why the Department of Temporal Investigations was founded, to stop people from just doing this, because come on, just don't. Give it a break, guys, please. So yes, this episode, is it canon or is it balls? I mean, I'm going to have to say that this is canon, really, because we learn a lot of good stuff about Spock and his family and Vulcan culture, and I think it's really important from that point of view. So yeah, this is definitely canon. Not balls at all. Definitely canon. So, as ever, I'll be interested to find out what everyone else makes of this. I hope that everyone else is thinking very hard and very carefully about what they could do if they could change just one small event in history. And until next time, glory to you and your cast.
Blimey, just the one. I've got quite a list, actually, I think you'll find, but never mind.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yes. Yeah. Starfleet pecking up with history.
Yes.
They never learn.
Well, yeah. Oh, as long as we're really careful and don't touch the thing, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And you should know that by now.
Apparently not.
Oh, dear. But this is a really, really nice episode, isn't it? Yeah.
And I love the idea that the original series was just setting everything up so we could have the animated series.
Yes.
It wasn't going through anybody's minds at the time, but it's kind of feeling that way at the moment. So I'm not sure it'll, remain like that, but... Yeah, the shorter runtime is definitely a bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, so many original series episodes were, just padded out to make the runtime that this is really refreshing. You just get stuff happening all the time. It doesn't mess about. Grand, and we'll hear from the Pie Man.
Hello orgs, Parry here to talk about Yesteryear, and this is a TAS episode that actually gets a lot of attention from people who normally would discount the animated series, and it's clear to see why. For starters, it crams in so much to a 25-minute episode. I mean, really, a lot of ideas and concepts here, and I would have loved to actually see a 45-minute version of this. Maybe not a live-action version, because, a lot of this would look shonky as hell, but, as actual concepts go, it's got a lot. So for starters, we have the repeat of The Guardian or Forever. We've got that coming back, and they're actually using it. They're using it to go back in time and see the start of the Orion civilization. That's exactly what they do. There seems to be a science team there. A weird birdman, or pterodactyl. I'm sure he's more bird-like, but you've got another alien, but a star, not just a squawky thing. He's like a scientist, which I thought was a really cool idea. But there's that instant twist that they come back and Spock appears. I don't know what happened to that red shirt that came back, because surely he'd also know who Spock was. But Spock appears and everyone goes, "Who's that?" And that's sort of the initial mystery. And again, you could see them drawing that out to a good 10 minutes in an episode where they've got to kind of sprint through it here. We get a brief view of an Andorian first officer, which I thought was awesome. I mean, a really good, neat character. And again, that sort of just idea of, there's this whole other slightly parallel universe. And yes, just this interesting extra character. But then the whole thing handbrakes, does a left turn, and becomes a story about Spock exploring a childhood trauma. 25 minutes Saturday morning kids cartoon here. And what we effectively have is Spock going around and meeting his younger self, And basically being there when, having the problems with, which we've seen in other things, again, quite a few other Trek things have taken to the idea that Spock received some racist abuse for being half human, which we see here. Vulcan kids, for some reason, wearing a weird pant and belt combo. Didn't quite get it. Pant and baldric, I suppose, but very odd. Uncredited Mark Leonard as well, Starrick, which was nice. But yes, you've got Spock, him going out to do this challenge, going out to Vulcan's Forge again. That's popped up in both Enterprise and a lot of tie-in fiction. And you've got the bit that actually really hit me recently was Alchaya, his pet, his giant sort of tiger thing, that gets killed, and that's kind of he has to cross the desert to go and get a healer. It's some quite traumatic childhood stuff, and yes, young Spock having to make the decision about whether to euthanize his pet. We actually lost the family dog earlier this year, and that hit quite hard. Not going to lie. It's got some absolutely lovely concepts, some really deep stuff for a Saturday morning kids cartoon. Somewhat hampered by the fact that the kid actor is utterly bobbins. The kid actor was stilted and terrible, and really kind of let the side down a bit. But overall, there's a lot of good stuff in this, and like I say, this could have been a 45-minute animated episode. I don't think it could have been live action, because there's, live action would have had a horrible, probably an animal with some stuff stuck to it, and Christ knows what that other monster that ate it would be. But I think, this really shows what they could do with animation, and I mean, it's DC Fontana writing, so, you can see where, the quality is there, and yeah, just in general, a really good insight into some of Spock's childhood traumas and how he's kind of, sort of why he sort of went the way he was. And yeah, I thought just a really solid, you didn't really have much padding in this. You didn't have too many long tracking shots of the Enterprise. You had a few animation shortcuts, but yeah, just some really high quality stuff here. I think this was them really pushing the boat out, and I really appreciate it as an episode. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed it, because I really had a good time with this one, or slightly traumatic time with this one. Yes, I hope you enjoyed this. So all that remains to say is do keep up the good work. I always look forward to the podcast, and I'll hope to be back in the next one. But until then, bye for now.
Bye. Yeah, I didn't think of that. We possibly should have done a trigger warning, shouldn't we? Of anybody who's lost a pet, this is going to hit hard, folks. So
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Purry. Wow.
Yeah. And it's, the fact that they put it on young Spock's shoulders and he's 7.
Yeah, that is the thing. But he's Vulcan, remember, so
Yeah.
well, at least half Vulcan. So
And it was explained to him, I can keep him alive, but he will always be in pain.
yeah, I mean, obviously, it's very easy to sit here and say he made the right choice, but... And he wasn't blubbing all over the place.
No.
Yeah, they didn't go over the top with it, even though he's half human. You could have gone down that route, but he didn't, so that's good. The actor who played him, by the way, I don't think ever did anything else. So
I'm not surprised.
yeah, well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is an awful lot crammed into this
Yeah.
20 minutes of animation. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the red shirt guy was the historian. But here's a question. Why is the historian wearing red? Because we had a historian before, didn't we? I'm sure it was
A woman.
in the original series. I can't remember if she wore red or blue. Because, I suppose, history isn't a science, is it?
No,
So,
they don't have a humanities outfit.
no. So they've lumped them into... I'm pretty sure that she may have wore red. I suppose red... kind of, I mean, it's clearly not engineering or security, is it? But neither is it science in the way that medical and, sort of physics and exobiology and stuff is. So, yeah, a tough one, I suppose. They had to go down with some colour, and I guess they just fell down on red.
Because I didn't think he was a historian.
Yeah, he's literally called Historian somebody or other. Historian Erickson.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, he doesn't get a lot to do beyond appearing from the past and then being part of the conference room discussion. He literally has, one line. So... including him seems a bit of a stretch, but on the basis that Jimmy Doohan is quite happy to reap the profits from this series, he's quite happy. Oh, are you sure you don't want another character in there? A cleaner or something. I'll do him. He can be from Japan. No, Doohan, no.
So
That's the point. There's no Sulu in this, is there?
No. So, apparently, it's Lieutenant Erickson, or we would say Lieutenant Erickson, and he's from the Operations Division, and that's why he was wearing red.
But how
he
is
was a historian. You're not wrong.
Yeah, but why does historian come under operations? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't answer that question. I'm just telling you, he's operations, which is why he's
There
red.
was a historian in Next Generation, wasn't there? He inveigles his way into the Dixon or Dock Green, Dixon Hill thing in season 1, and doesn't he? He's the one that gets shot. Although I think they managed to save him, if memory serves. And I can't remember. I think he wore yellow, which would match because yellow is
Historians are operations. I
Yes.
mean, I don't know why, but that's what Memory Alpha says. That he's lieutenant and he was red for operations.
Anyway, we'll lose sleep over that, I'm sure, but because we do about the important things, don't we?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there we go. I fear this may be the high point, and we're only 4 episodes in.
Oh.
Yeah, certainly this is the one that everybody has a lot of respect for, not just our feedbackers, but generally anybody involved with Trek. So, next episode we're covering is The Survivor. Yeah, so an opportunity to play Eye of the Tiger, I suppose. I think.
Oh.
Well, tune in next time on the 30th of July to find out which of the tunes we go with. Or possibly both, of course.
Yeah.
And then on the 24th next week, on our Galactica feed, we're covering Babylon 5's Born to the Purple.
Ooh.
So somebody is happy. Until then, take care. Cheery bye.
Bye-bye.
Theme for Star Trek The Animated Series was written by Ray Ellis and Norm Prescott.
Any music used in this podcast is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
We have a Facebook group, which you're welcome to join.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Find us on Blue Sky at broadcastammo.bsky.social
and revorg.bsky.social.
Shut it down!